What is up, everybody? Welcome to Sports Card Talk, episode 14. Me, Coleman, and Shaya were already discussing some hot topics before we got on, so I just want to get right into it. What's going on with LeBron refractors this week? It seems like we're seeing some positive trends in that card specifically. Shaya, I know you've been tracking that card and had your eye on one for the last couple of weeks, so give us a breakdown.
Yeah, 100%. I've had actually two deals, unfortunately, fall through. One for a True Gem, one for a True Gem Plus. Both are unfortunately not happening, and I wish they were. As of recently, today, a PSA 8 refractor sold for $16K, and a Min Gem 9.5 refractor sold on eBay for $45K. So you could say that refractor market has exploded. Kind of in reaction to the chrome market also exploding. So yeah, it's getting crazy with the refractors and the chromes as of right now.
Did you guys see the PSA 10 that sold for 110, right? Of the refractor?
15.
115.
Yeah.
Shit. That card in the offseason was like what? Like PSA 10 was like 70?
60.
60? And it's
55.
basically...
Actually, I think there were some 53 sales, 52, 53.
And the PSA 10's a pop, what?
150, 160.
Interesting.
I mean,
a PSA 10 in a Chrome PSA 10 in the offseason was probably like 8K, 9K.
This offseason?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was 15.
And then it went, but in the offseason,
and then it went down to 10.
10.
The lowest was like 10,
so
11.
Now that card's 20. Refractor 10 was, let's say, 60, 70. Now it's 115K.
I think both are going to become like grail cards. Those are going to be cards down the road that are going to be paying for crazy stuff.
You think the people that are buying this card are looking at it as a quick flip, or are they looking at it as a long-term hold?
Long-term hold, I think.
The refractor or the chrome or both?
We'll say refractor first, just refractor.
I think refractor is definitely a long-term hold. Or I think at the point when I was looking at it, I was like, okay, the chromes have already exploded. The refractor is the next play. That's why I was trying to go into it, because I knew it was going to spike in value soon. And also I knew it had amazing long-term value, and I was planning for holding it for the long term. But I do think the majority is long-term, unless obviously a deal pops up for them.
What about the chrome? Like, is that
I think people are more flexible with the chrome.
They're willing to give it up for something bigger?
I think just like I am. I'm willing to give up my chrome 10 if I'm able to get a very nice refractor. I think people are going to be more lenient with that one, but that may soon change because you're able to get the chrome in the PSA 10 while you necessarily won't be able to get the refractor in the 10 because that's so expensive.
The people that are buying, from what I've seen, the people that are buying the chrome, though, I don't feel like they're looking to sell it tomorrow. Like, I don't know what you guys have been seeing, but like I saw that actually Gary Vee made a post yesterday on Twitter that he was buying LeBron Chrome 111 PSA 10s, and I already know he has a bunch of them because I think he showed a picture one time. He had a crazy amount, and I think he bought like them at $1,000, $2,000 for PSA 10s. So now he's going in and buying more at 20K. I mean, that tells you a lot about where he thinks that card is eventually going to go, right?
And that's because he values that PSA 10 sticker so highly, I think, because the refractor is kind of unattainable at 115K. Not many people have that much money to spend on one card. But the chrome is less, and it still carries that PSA 10 value that he.
Let me ask you guys this: would you rather have 3 LeBron Chrome PSA 10s or 1 refractor True Gem Plus?
I would take the chromes, I think.
I think I'd take the chromes.
Now, what if it was a True Gem Plus with the 10 centering on the refractor?
I'm a sucker for centering, so if it was 10 centering, like True Gem Plus with 10 centering, I'd probably take that.
I don't think you could go wrong either way. I think they would both pan out very well.
It would be interesting to see like which where we see the most growth. I'm very intrigued with that because I mean we've seen it before. Like chrome will go up first, and then the refractors go up. So I think maybe right now we're going to be seeing this like push with refractor prices. But like it's really interesting to see like who's buying what card. Is the same person just buying both, trying to get on their hands on a chrome refractor or just a Topps chrome card, or is it like different sets of people? You know what I mean?
I think it's different sets. I think those who have chromes are trying to go after the refractors, and those with nothing are trying to go after the chromes. I think that's how the ladder is kind of working right now.
I would agree with that. I'd also add on that I think PSA 10 Chrome is more of investors or people that aren't as tied into the hobby, whereas you're seeing a lot of collectors try to find that refractor.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was at Burbank yesterday, and Ryan had a Min Gem BGS 9.5. I asked him about it because it's a good card to have. And he was like, "Yeah, I have it at 9.5K. Like, I'm not moving on it. I know I'm gonna get it." I'm like, you know what? Like, you are gonna get it because the Chrome's now 20, and that day it moved at 9.5K.
Wow.
Now on eBay, I think the last comp was 8.5, right? Somewhere around there. But moved to 9.5. That tells you a lot about where the LeBron market and rookie card market of these types of guys are going. People just want the card to sit on, really. I don't
But
think
I think
anybody's trying to sell that card or buy that card to be able to sell it tomorrow, unless Shai, how you're saying they're trying to move up with the card. You know what I mean? And trade.
yeah, but I think with the LeBron market, there's a lot of fear of missing out right now. I think they're like, I don't want to miss out on anything, so
Yeah.
they're willing to pay the 9.5 on an 8.5 card. So I think there's a lot of that going on, but I also think that I think it'll work in their favor because it's a staple card. It's not going to go anywhere. But I do think that that's driving the market up a lot because everybody's like, oh my, look at how high the chromes are going. I got to get one before they reach 30. And then they're like, okay, before they reach 30, okay, let me go get a refractor before they reach whatever, X. So I just think that's the mentality right now, but I don't think it's a bad card to buy by any means.
Do we think it hit? Do we think it's gonna hit 30K the Chrome, the
I think
LeBron
so.
Chrome 10? I've talked to a couple people, and I remember it was one episode where I was like if the Lakers win a championship, like blah blah blah, like that could get to 30K real quick, and then the August whatever dip happened or whatever. But now like we're at 20K. Every person that has money and is an investor is kind of like now looking at these types of cards and are like, hey, like let me buy a couple. So I think it hits 30K. The question is when, right? 25, 30K. The question is when. What about you, Coleman? Any thoughts?
Well, I'm just looking to see like what's available on eBay for LeBron Topps Chrome PSA 10, and it appears as though there's at least like 30 copies. I'd say roughly 30, maybe a shade under copies of the PSA 10 base available. It's not a lot, but
Are they
it's a
like buy
fair
it
amount.
nows or are they?
A lot of auctions. There's some buy it nows, but there's a buy it now sitting at 21.5K, old label. 21.5K OBO. It has 53 watchers. So that's probably not lasting very long. 25K bins after that and stuff. So I'd say it's probably going to move up just because like there's not a ton of supply on eBay. It seems like a card that people are kind of holding on to and not quite trying to flood the market to cash out just yet. So I'd say that card's probably going to move up to 25. Plus, I think you got the Kobe at 25 now.
Kobe's at 20.
So
Green ones at 25.
green ones at 25. Okay. So, that's something that people might look at and say, well, if that's 25, like why not get a LeBron at 25? So it looks like that card can still move up. Again, I would agree with Shaya that there's a lot of fear of missing out right now, a lot of FOMO. But again, like, you know, we have no idea. Like, it could go up, down, sideways, whatever. I just think there's a lot of market indicators that suggest that that's a 20K plus card, no problem right now, and that it could probably move up to 25. Now, again, if it moves up to 25, maybe the market all of a sudden a lot
Yes.
become available. Again, like if it pushes up to 30, you got to think that there's going to be a lot of supply available, as people are just like, look, like 30K is a lot of money. That's a down payment on a home. And there's a lot of people that own them that aren't these investors that are holding them long term. So you got to think that it's going to go in cycles, sort of on its way up to whatever next peak it hits. And so, you know, it's all things to consider. But yeah.
And the interesting thing, I was talking to a lot of people about this, is if you have a card that's like this, it's easier to sell on the way up than it is on the way down, right? Like, you're going to have more buyers when the card's trending in a positive way, as you should, on the way up. But if you're waiting to catch like the top, like, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to hit the top, and then at some point there's going to be a bunch of supply, like you're saying, and then the market moves down, and there's less buyers.
Yeah, because if everyone thinks it's going to hit 25, if you're trying to sell it at 23 before it hits 25, it's going to be such an easy move. But as it's trending up, but once it hits the 25 and that's the market sentiment that it's a 25K card and it'll either stay there or it'll go down, that's where the supply will come in. Kind of like the Luka Silver and the Luka base. Once those hit 2K, everybody started pumping them out at 17, 1800 off of eBay.
And I would keep adding to it that another market factor at play is the fact that there's so much information out there now on how people can educate themselves and get smarter. So, you know, the people that are buying these cards for 20K, they got people in their ears that know about the hobby. And at every point at 21K, 22K, 23K, what smart people are asking themselves is, what else can I buy for that? What else can I buy for 21, 22, 23, 24, 25K? So when you get up to 25K and you're like, this is a base LeBron Topps Chrome PSA 10. I know it's iconic, but what else can I buy for 25K? And I'm not talking about like a down payment on a home, which obviously like is a very real thing that you could put that money into. I'm talking about like other LeBron rookie stuff, LeBron rookie autos, like LeBron rookie refractors, right? LeBron rookie autos, LeBron rookie refractors from other sets, like MJ stuff, like whatever. There's other places and avenues where that money can filter into for that price point. And so other people, like, that's what people are looking at right now. They're seeing the LeBron Topps Chrome PSA 10 go up. They're not buying it. They're just seeing it go up and say, okay, cool, I'm going to go make a play over here then, because this is probably going to go up too, because this has room therefore of that LeBron Topps Chrome PSA 10. So, you know, you got people that are willing to create a supply line if that card goes up, and then you got people that are looking at that card go up and say, I'm not buying that at 25. I'm going to take my money elsewhere. So you have market forces at play that will make it go up, come down a little bit, go up, come down a little bit. Like, without even looking, I think that card moved up to like 20, 21, 22. Then for a second came down to 19, it looked like. And then it's starting to move back up again. So it's like things are going to happen along the way that do that. I think the best thing that people can do if they're interested in trying to get that card is educate themselves on what is the breaking point of, do I buy that card for 25 or do I put that money somewhere else? Do I buy that card for 23 or do I buy something else in the LeBron arena for 23, or buy MJ or Kobe, or put a down payment on a house, whatever? Like, those are the things that people need to be thinking about, not just the fear of missing out on the way to 30K, if that's where it's in fact going.
That is facts. And I like how you said, you know, you're talking about like what else is there, and KD dropped 42 last night, and Harden looked very well, like very good with him, and KD's Topps Chrome 10 is 7K right now. Like, if him, Harden, and Kyrie can work it out in Brooklyn, or they do get hot, that 7K like turns into 12, 13, 14 real quick, in my opinion. Like, if you're, you know, like if you have 20K, like, I don't know, like KD's an option too. And I think KD, you can make the argument that has the most room. Because after Kobe, LeBron, Jordan, like in terms of who's playing currently right now and who has a chance to win a championship, I think the guy's KD.
See, I agree. I've actually been thinking about, after I saw a performance, I was like, should I buy a KD? Should
He's
I?
come around.
Um,
FOMO.
but I think that a lot of people are trying to sell KD now because he was so low so many months ago, and the play was by then hold until season, wait until either season starting or he starts the ball and then sell. I've seen a lot of people try and sell their refractors, their chromes. So
Yeah.
I do kind of see that. As interesting as KD is, I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I think it's definitely interesting. Harden looked great. He looked great. They played well. Obviously, we obviously haven't seen Kyrie really in the mix. We don't know what he's gonna look like in the trio. So yeah.
I like how you brought up that people like, made a lot of money in the offseason by buying him and then flipping him now, or whether it was before the season. Like I did the same thing. I had Kobe Chromes. I flipped them into Kobe autos, but now I'm holding my KD refractor True Gem Plus, because a KD True Gem a couple of days ago did 17K. Like KD market, like I know people who are really going into KD right now, because like the people who bought in the offseason, you make your margins, you get out, cool. But there's now this, like, it's a different perspective now. Like if you're buying, like at 7K, like it in the market we're in right now, that's reasonable. And you can see that going to, 11, 12, 13, 14K in my head, right? Like if you had the card since like June and you bought it for, a Chrome 10 for $1,200, you're 6xing your money,
And I do want to point this out. KD does have the backing of a lot of investors. He's not like some other guys. I know Gary Vee is big on KD. And I know a lot of other investors are being told.
Otia's buying
Yeah, at
KD,
6K.
who's buying KD at 6K. People were selling a bunch of it to him, and now that's a 7K card again.
So
You know,
he definitely has the backing, which is great. But also, the other thing you got to talk about is that an iconic card? I don't think that's an iconic card
I think if
yet.
he wins another championship, then it gets very
I don't
interesting.
think he'll win the chip, but I think that the card is cheap. I do think the
If
card is
he,
cheap.
I agree. I think
But
there's
I do
two
think
play.
Kawhi
Yeah,
is cheap too. Just for the
you
record.
could make the argument.
They're right behind the Lakers, and he's shooting great, and he's putting up 25 points.
I
Playing
think
great.
Kawhi would need to put a very good performance in the playoffs
I agree.
to like gain the investors' trust again, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
I just think, look, at Dallas, right? Coleman, you and me are going to the Dallas show. I think KD could be a very interesting pickup. And I also want to just eye the room. I think one of the beauties of going to these shows is just seeing what other people are doing and like where like people are like putting their money into.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just KD is like one where I just want to watch. I want to see what fucking people are doing.
I think it's gonna be those three guys: LeBron, Jordan, and
I think Kobe autos in Dallas are going to be popping.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, I would agree with that.
And I want to see what's happening with Luka.
Right. Well, Luka's soft right now.
Luka's soft right now, but in Dallas, Dallas, it could be a situation in Dallas where there's basically everybody with similar mindsets in one room. That can really change the market if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. I mean, if people all agree that Luka's soft and they see his play and they think that he's balling out and stuff, you could see the market literally flop or flip in a room. I'd always say too, like, it's good what we're doing a little bit. And, if we had time to even get into it more, which is trying to figure out, okay, if LeBron is worth this and all the attention is on LeBron right now, right? So where attention goes, money flows. So all this money is flowing into LeBron right now. All this attention is on LeBron. There's this narrative being basically said in the hobby of like, LeBron is the safest thing. The stuff's just going up like crazy. Like, I'm not trying to say that it's a bad investment. I'm just trying to say that there's so much attention on it right now that it could be an opportunity to look at different markets. So that's why when Shaya says a Kawhi, like, I'm not saying that I agree or I don't agree. I'm just saying it's interesting because the price point is so low. He has accomplished so much. and the team does look good, and the team is definitely a contender, and there's no attention there right now.
None.
There's no attention there right now. So, you know, the people that do the best are the people that, you know, zig when other people zag, right? Now you don't want to do that and beat it to death to where literally you're the only person zigging and, you know, it doesn't work out for you, but it's something to really pay attention to. And you look at the Luka market, you look at some of these other guys like Giannis and Luka and Tatum and everything like that, and you get this feeling that people are sort of afraid to put money into that right now because they're getting LeBron, MJ, and Kobe rammed down their throat, which I'm not saying it's bad. That's safe. But there's sort of this narrative right now in the hobby, which is buy MJ, buy LeBron, buy Kobe. It's gold, right? It's safe. And, you know, people are forgetting about the other guys a little bit. So it's something to consider, just like all of this, right? Take as much information as you can and come to your own conclusions and make the best bet that you make, you know, with your own knowledge based off of critical thinking, with taking everybody's opinion into play. Don't just listen to people that are saying like LeBron tops Chrome PSA 10's going up to 30. Like, you need to buy this right now. Don't listen to that. Like, take all the information, take it at face value, and do your best job to have an objective opinion and come to your own conclusion. Because if you do that, usually you'll come out on the other side looking pretty good.
Education. It's key to cards, you know? If you're just listening to one person, you're going to get burned.
What's key to a lot of things besides cards, like stocks is another big
Very
thing.
true.
You can't just
Yeah.
be listening to one guy who says buy this stock, hold, buy this stock. Like, it's just not how it works. You gotta become educated, know why you're buying it. Entry, what's your entry? What are you gonna get out of it at? Why is it going up? Why is it going down? What's the next play? Why is it the next play?
Right.
You just gotta know all those things.
And that's why going to shows is a great tool and a resource to be able to make these decisions. Because just like Sasha was saying, you can go to the show and you can understand that people are buying KD right now, but the prices don't really reflect any sort of rise. And then all of a sudden KDs explode. And we saw the same thing happen 2 months ago in November when everybody was buying Trey, but Trey prices were X. And then by the end of the show, Trey prices went up, and then they went up by 50 or 60% in the coming weeks. So like, if you had just been able to be at that show, understand what was happening, and then put a ton of money into Trey and then flip out like 3 weeks later, you would have made a ton of money. So, you know, there's a lot of good, you know, ways to be able to keep your temper, like, you know, keep it, you know, a pulse on the beat of what's happening and everything. But yeah, it's all good. It's just, and I'm not saying don't buy LeBron or MJ or Kobe. That'd be asinine to say. I just say, you know, keep everything in perspective.
You brought up a young star that we've talked about on the show for a while now. What is going on with Trae Young, gentlemen?
He's playing like shit. Last night he played really well, though. Last night he played really well in a loss to the Portland Trailblazers. No, not from three. Not from three. He shot like shit. But again, like, his free throw percentage is amazing. He's a great shooter. He just had an off night, but he still had like, you know, 12 dimes. I think he had like 7 or 8 boards, 26 points. Had a good game, and they were close with the Blazers and stuff. He's just not playing well right now. Yeah.
I mean, again, young stars, this is the trends you have to deal with, right? You're going to have good games. You're going to have bad games. Prices are going to go up. Prices are going to go down. It's the modern market. So, like, if you really believe in Trae, you know, like, I don't know, like, you might be buying right now, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of people are dumping right now. It's the modern market. Like, John Morant came back last night, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I know John Morant prices the last 2 weeks were down. Look, he comes back and puts 5-10 good games in a row. I know Tatum's out right now, right? You know, Tatum's is, like, there's a bunch of these like plays, and if you look at them from different perspectives, some people are like sell. Some people are buying big right now. Michael Porter Jr., I believe he's still out for COVID.
Yep.
I know there's a lot of people that are high on Michael Porter Jr., and there's a lot of people who are not. But if you're high on Michael Porter Jr., I know before he got COVID, he was like really playing well. So I mean, I guess this is like the difference with like the modern market, and then we talk about the Kobe, LeBron, stuff and Jordan stuff. Is like, you don't. I guess you don't necessarily have to deal with the, oh, he had 10 good games in a row, and then he had 3 bad games. It's just kind of, I guess it's more investor driven with their high end cards, like
What's more reactionary with the
with the modern
rookies?
market. Yeah.
Yeah.
So real quick too, we know a lot of people have taken Trey, Ja, Zion, Luca, Giannis, and they have cashed out on that to buy MJ, Kobe, LeBron, right?
Yep.
Well, I would say that a big thing about this modern market is the prices are so high. It's not like you just go buy a Trey Prism 10 for $60 like last year and you like just ride that little train, and you just like, work your entry level job and no big deal if it goes down. If it goes up, hooray. But it's like now it's like prices are so high. It's like it's terrifying to put money into dudes that aren't established like MJ, Kobe, and LeBron because the potential losses are so drastic. So I mean, we're seeing what happens in any market really, which is all of a sudden the people that have everything are able to take those risks. And the people that are like the everymen that are trying to get to that point aren't able to take those risks that end up turning into extremely high gains because they were able to take the higher risk with the higher upside and everything. So, this modern market affects these prospects a lot because the prices are so high now that people are like, well, geez, like, why would I put that much money into Trey or Luca or Giannis when I could put it into something safer because I have a lot more to lose now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you were buying Trey at, I don't know, didn't it get up to like 800, a little over 800 maybe?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's, I don't know, let's just say 700. And you lost $100 in, or I guess you didn't lose because you didn't sell yet, but still, like,
Yeah.
it's not like how you said last year where it's like, oh, it goes from, 60, maybe went down to 40, then it's up to 100, and you're like stoked. Like losing a couple $100 hurts, especially if you're buying multiples. Um, like even with like I think we all think that Luka base 10s are pretty soft right now. But let's say you're somebody who bought at 1800, 1900, and now you can only sell it privately for around 14, 1500, and you have, let's say 10, 15, 20 of those. That hurts, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't sell them. I would not
Definitely
sell
not.
them.
And let's talk about it a little bit. Like, what do we like? Luca has been playing well. Like these last 4 or 5 games, he's been playing pretty well. I mean, he needs to improve his 3-point shot. I think we all can agree on that. But he's getting triple doubles almost daily. Um, but his prices are actually like just kind of staying stagnant, even declining a tad. Um, on his base stuff, I'm talking about. On his color stuff, it's still hitting all-time highs for his Prism color stuff. Um, what are we thinking on Luca right now, guys? Like, why do we think that his base stuff is kind of staying at this uh, basic point um, right now?
I think the market needs something to react to. We're in a reactionary market. We need something like remember when he hit the game-winning buzzer beater against the Clippers. Once he hit that shot, market went crazy. I think another big thing right now is a lot of as we've been talking about, the attention is on the GOATs. No one is really focusing on the rookies right now because the rookies as a whole, there's not one guy who's a hot commodity right now who's just exploding and people are just buying him and selling him constantly. There's not that guy right now. People are expecting that to be Trey. People are expecting that to be Luca. But because of their circumstances with the whole, there's no fans. Luca was out of the country. He didn't play with a lot of his teammates. Porzingis is out. There's a lot of injuries. There's a lot of COVID, a lot of absences. There's just a lot of moving parts right now that it's affecting not just Luca, not just Trey, but a lot of the rookies as a whole. I personally think that we will get back to a point where Trey and Luca are hot commodities again. I think the base 10s and all that it'll be back to the train of buying Luca and Trey, and they'll be back up to what we're normally seeing them at. I don't expect either of them to keep shooting the way that they are and playing the way that they are. I think it's just a matter of time. And if you're patient, I don't know how much cheaper they could get. I think it just really depends on how long it takes for them to bounce back.
And I would think the population affects that,
Yeah, the
right?
supply.
Like the time for it to bounce back is affected by the population because of supply.
Yes,
because
because it's going up, and then people are like, okay, let me sell. Let me
it'll
just
take
get out of
longer.
this.
Yeah, it'll take longer for cards to show that growth because of the supply. So like it's funny because you can like sometimes you can feel that a card is going up, but if it has a big supply, you have like a week and a half, 2 weeks till you actually see it. So you could actually like buy it. It almost gives you time to buy in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at the same time though, and I'm going through this right now where I'm like I'm flipping young guys and putting them into bigger names, and I'm in this situation right now where like I have a lot of Luca base 10s and I have opportunities to get these other cards, and I'm like, Luca's pretty low right now, like if I do sell or if I do trade. But at the same time, like I know where these certain high-end cards are going to go. So it's like this weird like trade-off in a way.
Yeah.
Like do I think that Luca base 10s will be 2000 again? Like I can see it. Like people have paid 2000 for that base 10 before, and they will again. And I think I know some people have been talking about optic color. Like that's an interesting play. Um, I guess there's so it's crazy to see. And I was talking to Rob about this yesterday, and he was just like the amount of money and opportunities that nobody has looked at yet that is still out there that nobody's tapped into is just unreal.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
also want to point in and say, I think as of recent months, there's been this anti-base movement. A lot of people are growing this way about base because there's so many of them. And that's why we've seen all the color for like Trey and Luca, especially Luca, to sustain and rise while the base is just kind of depleting. And I think that's just because there's so much of it. So I think that definitely plays a role into the base market growth. But in regards to Luca, if you should buy, sell, or hold him, um, I would say it's really up to you. I'm personally not buying him right now because I already have a solid amount. And I would only be moving if I'm trading for a bigger card or if I have an exact deal in mind. But if that's not happening, I'm not moving as of right now.
I want to bring in a question from Instagram. Do you guys see uh do you guys see this like market like I think right now we're all in agreement that everybody's going after the goats, right?
Same three guys.
Same three guys. So at the same time though, and I'm just going to talk from my perspective here. At the same time, it's like we're in this early market as well where like people are trying to understand, okay, like what will somebody want in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years? And even if you're like, let's say LeBron Chrome 10s are 20K right now, let's say they hit 25, somebody buys at 25. Like if they're long-term holding that thing, like let's say they even overpay 10-15%, like does that matter in the macro? Like I think that's where people are coming from.
So
If
they're
that makes
paying
sense.
high now?
No, okay, I'm saying like, okay, the goats are hot right now, okay?
Yeah.
So like a LeBron Chrome 10's 20K right now. Let's say somebody buys a LeBron Chrome 10 at 20K today, but
Yeah.
they're an investor and they're holding that card for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Let's say LeBron Chrome 10 2 months from now goes down to 18K, right? If they're holding that thing for 10 years, I don't think it matters. And I think that's the perspective that people are coming from right now.
And I think it's very, especially with long-term cards, very similar to long-term stocks. Stocks don't just go up. There's going to be pullbacks. There's going to be recessions. Obviously, we were just in a recession. You know what happened in the stock market in March? It dropped. And if you've seen since then, there's a massive run up. If you're holding stocks long term, and I've talked to many people about this, you have to have patience. You can't react to the ups and the downs because you're holding long term. If you're unable and you get scared and you're seeing the market go down and you're like, oh my God, I need to sell, you should not be investing long term. It's as simple as that. You need to be prepared for the ups and the downs and know the end goal. And that, I think that's what it comes down to. And I also think that everyone's focusing on those GOATs. I don't think there's enough focus on the other GOATs, the other guys.
Magic Johnson
Magic, I think, is
has a
interesting.
documentary coming out.
I think Tim Duncan, Dirk, I think both of those guys are very interesting. I think, and they're both have the Hall of Fame ceremonies coming up. I think that there's a lot of other opportunity. I also personally think, as I've said, the rookie market, no one's thinking about it. No one is going after it. I think that could be a play, but also then you're depending on performance. You got to believe in the player for him to bounce back. And if you don't believe that, then you shouldn't be going after that market.
What do you think, Coleman?
I think, we're already seeing this spill over to Gretzky, Brady, Mike Trout to a degree, Derek Jeter. So we're going to see spill over to the other GOATs too. Magic Johnson, Tim Duncan, Dirk. By the way, it's Duncan, KG, and Kobe, which are being inducted.
And KG cards are really cheap.
Dirk, I think, is next year or the year after that. It's 3 years after you retire, and he retired.
KG is pretty cheap
last year. Yeah, KG stuff is pretty cheap. But again, is he a GOAT because he won one ring in Boston?
But at the same time, he was pretty popular when he played. He was pretty popular.
He was the big ticket, of course. Yeah. But again, I would say KG stuff, you're going to see a run up to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right? You flip it and then you're out.
Yeah. So, but there's spillover to all these guys. I'm literally watching Gretzky stuff, Gretzky rookie, OPG and Topps rookie cards go up. We're watching all this stuff go up. We're watching vintage stuff go up. So, there's definitely spillover there. And with the young guys are just soft right now. But again, we say it's soft, but it's
it's still up 300%.
It's still up a stupid amount. A year ago, Luka Optic PSA 10 was $150. Now it's $700. Is that soft? I don't know. So, it's still early in the season. History shows that there's a mid-season dip. Basically, there's the run up to the season, and then there's the first couple of games, and then we see this dip halfway through the season. Then things start to heat back up when all the playoff chatter resumes of it looks like the Mavericks might make a run, or it looks like the Bucks are really hard to beat. So, in the meantime, we're seeing, this evolving market just go towards GOATs and everything because those are the best plays and stuff. And there's a lot of investors that are not looking for the quick flip. They're looking for holds. And we're seeing the dollar go down in value, the American dollar. So we're seeing a lot of new money that's coming in that's just saying, hey, we don't really care what we're paying, but we're not buying a young guy because we're trying to buy things that are safe. And we're trying to just get our money out of the dollar to buy assets that are going to go up in value. So,
and I love how you said it. This is an evolving market because it is. It's a young and evolving market. At the same time, though, I love how you give the perspective of, look, we usually see a early season run up and then everything cools off, then it heats back up coming to the playoffs. And I think, look, I think that with the LeBron stuff, and the GOAT stuff, when the off season hits, will all that stuff go back down again? Probably. And then that could be another buying opportunity,
Real quick, Tom Brady, Bowman Chrome, PSA 10.
8K card, right?
No, more than that. I think it's 94, 93.55 is what it's at on Card Ladder. Shout out Card Ladder. But in August, when the season was starting for football, That card got up to 10,400, right? And that was also the peak of the market. Like we saw this massive peak in August, right? But that was also when the football season was starting. So we saw that card get up to 10,000. Season started during the middle of the season. So December 15th isn't the middle, but close enough, right? That thing dropped to $6,500. And then now it has run back up to 93.55. It even touched over 10,000 a week ago. So again, that's just literally spelling out a GOAT market going through the season run up, mid-season slump, and going back up for playoffs.
And if he wins this year, that'll be going up for sure.
If the Bucks win, like if the Bucks win today and then
win the Super Bowl,
win the Super Bowl,
I think that'll be a 15K card.
Oh, for sure. Like if
Easy.
Brady gets a 7th ring in Tampa Bay, forget about it. His stuff's gonna go nuclear.
I've been talking with some guys. I think that we've been talking and we're like, is Brady gonna retire if he loses? And we're like, no way. If he wins, will he retire? Okay, I don't know. But I think if he loses, he's for sure coming back for more years to come. And I think that's obviously a great card to hold.
Well, gentlemen, I think that was a fantastic episode. I think we gave a lot of perspective on where the market is at currently, and also the GOAT market, as well as the younger guys, the plays that are there. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you follow us on there. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. That is a must. And comment below any questions you have for the next episode so we can answer them, as well as who you agreed and disagreed with and what points you agreed and disagreed with. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And thank you once again, Shaya and Coleman.
Thanks, Sasha.
Peace.